So let's continue with the next step. After customizing our player, the next thing that we're going to start working on is our title screen. So we're going to just call this thumbnail. To start off, we're going to hover over, choose a sprite, and click on our paintbrush. Once we're here, it's always good to rename everything just to keep everything organized. So thumbnail. Okay. Now that we have that all set up for us, the first thing that we're going to do is create a backdrop. So we're going to click on our rectangle tool. We're going to pick a color. I'm going to pick a color for the sky. I'm just going to make a big box just to cover all my different size and area. And the reason why I say this is because this is not a correct view from our actual game. This is a tad bit more zoomed in than it is for our actual game scene. So it's always good to look here and see as you're moving and positioning stuff how it's going to look in your actual game scene, because these two don't translate as the same thing. So what we're going to do after we're done creating our sky is I'm just going to go ahead and maybe even make a little sun. I'm going to do that. Put it here. And as you can see, my scene looks a little bit different. So if I want to maybe move my sun a little bit further down so I can see it a bit better, I can go ahead and do that. So now that I have my background and my sun, if I want to draw clouds or anything else, I could do that as well. But the next thing that I can do is now set up my actual backdrop that I want in order to showcase my game. So it's kind of up to you guys whether or not you guys just want to draw stuff from scratch. So you can either use different shapes and reshape it, or you can use the brush tool and draw different things. Since we already have such lovely designs once we finish creating our different platforms, I was just going to go ahead and just use those instead. So if you do want to do that, you can just go ahead and click on the platform sprite, click on copy, go into our thumbnail and click on paste. And I'm just going to go ahead and move it a little bit and kind of position it. You can even rotate it if I want to. Oops. That's why we have this undo button. That makes it a little bit helpful. So I can go ahead and rotate it a little bit and then kind of position it. Okay, that's about right. I can go ahead and go to my next platform. Click on copy, my thumbnail, and click on paste. And I'll move this a little bit lower. Maybe even move it a little bit to the side. And then I'll use one more. I'll use this one. I'm going to copy and then paste. So to move this to the backdrop, I'm just going to go ahead and click on back, which moves it all the way behind. And then I'll click forward in order to push it up one more. And then from there, I can just go ahead and move it. Remember to make space for your title screen. So since my title is going to go at the very top, I'm just trying to make sure that I don't have anything covering that section. So this is about right. I'll even copy and paste my character as well. Maybe kind of have them showing they're kind of launching off. Okay. So now that I have my scene for my thumbnail already done, the last thing I'm going to use is the text tool in order to make my title screen. So at this point, it's kind of up to you guys what you guys want to call the game. If it's too hard to come up with a game, you can just go ahead and type something just as a placeholder for right now, and then later on you can change it. If you still don't want to think of one, you can just go with the title of the game, August. Or if you want, you can just come up with your own title. For the sake of time, I can take hours and hours just trying to think of the coolest name. So I'm just going to go ahead and just use August right now. Once I figure out my title and I have my text tool selected, I'm just going to go ahead and pick the color that I want to use. Then right across from it, I'm just going to go ahead and pick the font as well. And I'm just going to type in my title. Once I typed in my title, I'm going to go ahead and use my select tool, and I'm going to use that to make it bigger by just clicking on one of the corner dots and just stretching it out, and then just moving it. So if you can see here, even though it's right on the line, the white line that I have, do you see how it does not match up with my scene? That's why it's very important to just make sure that as you're positioning stuff here, you're looking over here just to make sure everything shows up exactly how you want it. So now that I have the title, I can do a couple things. I can go back to the fill tool and play around with these different gradients. I can add an outline as well if I want to. I can add a different effect. I can even maybe add a little ghost effect. So I'll make the bottom look like a ghost. So I do this by clicking on any of the gradients. And then the second color, I'm just going to go ahead and remove it. So it kind of adds a little ghost effect. To make this maybe even cooler, I'm just going to copy and paste it. And then I'm going to change the color of it to be a little bit darker. And then I might even just give it an outline too. I'll make it purple just so it kind of goes with it. And here I have my title screen. There's other things you guys can also do with your title. Maybe if you don't want to necessarily do this, you want to add a ghost effect, which you can do it the same way I did this one. So I can show you really quickly. So I'm just going to turn this back to normal. So to add a ghost effect to this, to kind of make it look like it's jumping out, I'm just going to go ahead and copy my title, paste it. Once I do that, the fill color, I'm going to change the brightness all the way down to make it dark. And I'm just going to click on backward to push it back. And now, and I can even move this around to see how I want my shadow to act. So now I have this kind of 3D effect to make it seem like my title is kind of jumping off of it. There's other stuff you guys can do too, like use the brush tool and maybe add little decorations on the text if you guys want to. Or add different designs. So maybe I'll do something like this if I really wanted to. And maybe even add some yellow. And I can just maybe add some dots to it as well. Okay. So go ahead and play around testing different stuff out for your title screen and playing around with how you want everything to be positioned, how you want stuff to look. And once you're done and you're happy, you guys can move on to the next step.